Hello, how are you?
I'm really well. How are you?
I am so good. Well, I'm so happy to see you again.
Oh, you too. Yeah, I'm back.
I'm so happy that you're back. Tell me all of the things that's been going on. What's happening?
Oh my goodness. Well, what can I say? I had a child about 14 months ago, which was, just a little thing that happened.
Just happened.
I've been writing the album for the past couple of years. The album's kind of almost ready to go now. I've been working with the UN for the past few years. So I've been doing a lot of travel, yeah, but mostly like getting to grips with motherhood.
Mhm.
But yeah, and then obviously I've got my new song. So yeah, very busy.
I feel like you've been hella busy, especially with just being a mom to a 14-month-old year old. That has to be like, come on, like
I
so
know.
hard, the hardest job.
It is so hard, and they don't tell you like everything when when I'm like reading the baby books and stuff, and you can never be like that prepared. But I mean, it's wonderful. It's challenging. It's definitely a brand new experience, and you feel all these new things, totally new world. But it is great, and yeah, it's just one of those balancing acts, with work and everything. But it's amazing.
Do you feel like that you've become more emotional since? Because I remember having this conversation with my mother, and she was saying after having me and my brother, like she wasn't really emotional, but after having us, she's gotten like super emotional. Do you think that that's happened to you since having your baby?
There's been a lot more crying, like even at like sort of rom-coms and things. I definitely
Hmm.
like I'm crying a lot more. Like the waterworks can turn on very quickly. Yeah, you're definitely like more fragile, and you just like you sort of you understand like the beauty of life a lot more because you've brought one into the world, and so you get touched a lot more by things, like kind of affected by things. Like I can't watch like I don't know, like babies crying and things. It just like, yeah, it really affects you. So I do understand that now. It's like a whole new thing.
What are some of the things that you felt like the baby books didn't teach you?
Oh, I mean, like oh my God, so much stuff. Like the anxiety that all these mad feelings, like you just have this new capacity in your brain that your brain just like expands. You realize that suddenly it's just like a new brain because it changes to take care of your kid rather than just of yourself. So like all these new things happening, and I never really read that anywhere.
Do you think being a mom has changed your mindset as an artist?
I think I'm not maybe. I think from like a kind of more practical point of view, I'm a lot more efficient because I want to get home to him.
Hmm.
So I work in a kind of slightly different way. But no, emotionally, I feel like I'm still kind of the same. Maybe there's a bit more kind of talking about the future. I often dwell on the past when I write. Maybe this I'm now thinking more about the future and his future. Um, but yeah, I don't think it's changed like too dramatically. Maybe one day I'll write an album about him or something. I don't know.
That would be like the coolest gift ever. Could you imagine like him going to school and say, "My mama wrote this album about
I
me"?
know, I know, I know. Maybe one day then. Yeah, when you put it like that.
That would be so dope. So you mentioned that you were writing. Of course, the pandemic just happened. Was it easy to write during that time?
I definitely, I definitely felt like, I was like, why am I here writing about this silly thing when like there's a global pandemic? But yeah, I think it was such a strange time. I mean, I did a lot of reading, which always helps with songwriting, like a lot of like poems and fiction. And so I had a chance, and I got to be like really immersed in nature because I went for so many walks that I think that all helps to like, sort of I don't know, prepare you to like write music. But like I don't know, there's things that just like suddenly make you think, oh shit, the world's really gonna,
Yes,
you know,
yes. Let me tell you.
yeah,
Yes.
I was like, what's gonna happen? And so I remember really vividly writing about that and thinking, God, like one of the lyrics was like, sorry if my mind hasn't been on you. Have you seen the news? Like, give me that whiskey neat or something. And
Hmm. Hmm.
and it was just like it was very, I often have this habit of like trying to make things hopeful, even though it's like the end of the world. I can't bear the idea of not giving people hope for some reason.
Mhm.
So that's always like a habit I have with writing music. But yeah, anyway, that's a long answer. But I do, even when I write like, songs about exes and things, I like to provide some kind of, other opinion. Like maybe it was me, maybe I did something. I always like to be quite balanced in my songs. But yeah, I try and be more optimistic than anything. Yeah.
Can I just say that you are hella mature because when something goes wrong, I am the last person that I think about that I was the problem. Can I just say that?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, and you probably weren't, to be honest. Like I follow my instincts and stuff like that. But certain personality types, like especially mine, I often go there first, and I think, oh, that was definitely me. That had to be me. That was, and I know I stay up all night thinking about like, oh, I said something in the wrong way or I did something bad. So I'm trying to get out of the habit of that a little bit, but at the same time, I think about these poor exes that I just write songs about, and they're just like helpless and they can't do anything about it. So I feel like I have to be like mature in that sense and just like provide another perspective.
But the thing is that you're not necessarily mentioning names when you are writing these songs, so it's not like they're fully being put on blast.
True, true, true. I haven't mentioned any names. I wouldn't do that. That's not really like kind of my kind of vibe. Yeah.
Are you the type of person because you were saying when I go to bed at night, I am constantly, I guess, mulling over what did I do that day, and I'm like, did I make this person feel crazy for saying something like this, or did I do this wrong, or did I do? Do you do that?
Oh my God, almost every night. Almost every night. Yeah, all the time. I like mull over things at like 3 in the morning. 3 in the morning is the time for some reason. I think it's when the
Same.
melatonin runs out and then your body's like, right, time to get up, even though it's like absolutely not time to get up. Yeah, I start thinking of like something I did a very long time ago to offend someone often.
I think that's amazing though that you are aware of that because I feel like a lot of people have to go through years of therapy just to even be aware of, other people around them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I guess so. But I put a lot of stuff in music, so maybe that's some kind of like
Your
good
therapy.
therapy for me. Yeah.
Right. How does it feel that your songs are like blowing up again on social media on TikTok?
It's so weird. I mean, it's amazing. It's like not something I ever expected to happen, especially with Lights. I thought that song was like, done and dusted. It's out there, people like it occasionally, put on playlists. But yeah, it's so sweet because it's such a feel good thing. It's not anything heavy. It's just people having fun and dancing, and it's really cool. I just think, it's hard to not be just uplifted by that. It's just people having fun, listening to music, and it's great.
What's interesting is how people are always digesting songs. Look at the Kate Bush song, being as though
Yeah.
it's 37 years later and people are still, it's charting like it's new. So,
I know, and I think that's that can only be like a positive thing. I love that young people are discovering old songs. Some of these songs that we know and love and have helped us through things, and then suddenly like you're like, oh, have you heard of Kate Bush? And the kids are like, no, who's Kate Bush? And then it gives me so much like hope that like I don't know, these beautiful songs that deserve that airtime, coming back into the limelight. I think it's just such a special thing.
it has to feel really good as an artist. And it also breaks the charts, the chart norms. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like a lot of times these stations and these labels will be like, all right, well, it didn't make it to number one, so let's get rid of it. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
people are like digesting the
yeah,
song and
yeah.
and shooting it up the charts again. So as an artist, that has to feel really good.
It does, because you know how disposable songs can be at the
Right.
moment. They come and go, and I know that because it's happened to me. There's sometimes songs that don't quite land as well as others, and that's just something that always every artist has to deal with. So the fact that like then these songs, so for example, I had a song called "Still Falling for You," which was featured on a Bridget Jones soundtrack in the UK,
Mhm.
and then it completely blew up on TikTok because it was like a soundtrack for like people coming back from the military and like weddings and everything. And I just love that song got the time of day, because I wrote it with the Max Martin guys and Tovlo, and And so it's just nice that it just got to have that moment. And I'm grateful to TikTok for that.
It has to be, I want to say, kind of frustrating as an artist. Like you put your heart and soul into a song and you put it out, and it's like not people necessarily throw it away, but it doesn't do as well as the
Yeah,
powers that be
yeah,
think that it will do, and they just kind of like dispose of it. Does
yeah.
that make you feel a way when that happens?
Yeah, it is. It is kind of frustrating, but it's sort of, you just accept that it's part of the game, and you just move on and bring out the next one. But yeah, it does feel like a waste sometimes. Feel like, oh, I could have brought out this other song, because often you and the label have sort of differing opinions, and that's again like Taylor's Old as Time. That happens all the time. It's just something you accept. But I don't know. Like sometimes then I'll get a message saying like, this song helped me through really, really hard time, and that to me makes me feel like it was worth it all along. So yeah, it's all good.
That has to be humbling when you get a message from like a fan that's like, man, this song helped me do this. Song helped
uh,
me do that. That has to feel good.
it does feel so good to get those messages. Yeah.
So tell us about the new song Easy Lover with Big Sean.
Yeah, so I wrote this song Easy Lover about 5 years ago with Julia Michaels and Greg Kirsten in LA. And it was one of those days where I was like, wow, we got a good one on our hands. And kind of kept it hidden away for a few years, and then it kind of came back again recently, and everyone was just into it. It was like it had just been written. And then I asked Big Sean to be on it, and yeah, and he obliged. He was a fan, and we've been meaning to work together for a long time. So it just worked out perfectly, and he understood the song, he understood the assignment, and he nailed it. And yeah, he's great. He's like the nicest guy in the world.
That's awesome. Tell us, what else are you working on?
So right now, finishing the album, which will be out soon. I mean, not soon, but like kind of the end of the year. I've got a couple more songs coming out this year, which I'm very excited about. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I'm touring next year. That's all kind of being put into place now. And then hopefully I'll be doing the festival circuit, because that's my favorite thing to do. So I did an interview earlier today, and he was like, oh, apparently you've played every single major music festival in the world. And I was like, oops, yep, guilty. That sounds like me, because I always get booked for festivals. It's an honor. I always get asked.
Can I tell you that there is something about playing a festival? Everybody is outside, everybody's having a good time, and people are just like watching you sing. It is hot as hell outside. That's how you know people rock with you, when it's hot outside and people are like just watching you do your thing on stage.
Yeah, the best thing is when you know that you've like made new fans, like at festivals, when like people have like come over and they're like, who's this? And and they tweet you afterwards or something saying like, oh, I just saw you for the first time, really love your music. And that's the best feeling. I love that.
I love that. I love you for taking the time and joining us. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And I'm still rocking with Lights Burn. And what's the one? I'm forgetting the title. There's a power in what you do. Now, every other day, I'll be
Uh,
watching you.
yes,
Uh,
side, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you too.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.